Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome to episode 12 of Horror Hideout.
So tonight we are discussing 2001's Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
That stars Justin Long as Derry and Jenna. Is it Gina? Gina Phillips as Trish. Spoiler-free review.
They're brother and sister, and do they ever say what they're doing?
They're headed home for spring break from college.
So,
But Gina, I think it's Gina, convinced Derry to take the long way home.
so they're driving through like a not very populated area. It's a lot of forest and trees or forest and fields.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. I said trees instead of fields, and that kind of thing. And so there's just kind of like small towns and like individual houses along the way. And basically they run into a driver on the road who's driving erratically, and then they see him doing some things that are illegal. And I think that's about all we can say for spoiler free. Don't you think?
Yeah, probably. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it, come back, let us know what you think, and here we go.
So before we start this, have you seen any of the sequels?
No.
Okay, I haven't either.
So, we're kind of going to switch things up, and I think we've decided we're not going to do a scene-for-scene analysis of every movie that we do. Just because some movies don't need that, and I feel like this is one that doesn't really need that. So basically, we're following Derry and Trish in their...
And I'll say this. This is one of the first movies that me and my mom have watched for the podcast that we both kind of decided wasn't the best.
And that surprises me because so many people like it.
Yeah.
So Trish and Derry, they're driving Trish's car home from spring break. Derry's actually driving at the beginning of it, and this old...
Derry's the brother.
Yes, they're brother and sister.
Yes.
This old van kind of reminds me of like a milk truck from back in the day when they delivered.
I thought an army truck.
Yeah.
And then there's a later part where an army truck goes by and she thinks it's that van at first.
Yeah. Very rusted, very old and dirty looking.
And
comes up behind them on the road and just rams them.
And we watched the behind the scenes, and it was converted into a van, but what they actually used was an old flatbed truck because they wanted it to have like a kind of tough exterior, and they wanted the front to look intimidating.
Right. And they made 3 trucks identical.
And I know you haven't seen this movie, but it almost brings to mind the Green Goblin truck from Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
That one literally has a face on it.
Yeah.
This one, it's just more of an implied face with the way that the front is set up.
Yeah, and one thing they talked about the special features I didn't think about was that the 3 little lights up at the top look like horns.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, but... So he ends up ramming into the back of their car, and then he just kind of speeds off.
Does he ram here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't he?
I thought the first time he just drove around him. I thought he just came up behind him and drove around him.
Maybe he does. Anyway, so he kind of freaks him out, but then he takes off, and so they're like, we're just gonna get home, we're not gonna worry about it anymore, and then...
they're driving along, and they go past this old church, and they see the truck parked outside, and they see the guy dumping what appears to be bodies, like they're wrapped up, so you can't see the people, but they're people shaped, and it just looks like it's like white cloth and like ropes
with red stains on it.
Yeah, and he's dumping them down like a storm drain is what it looks like. Like a big under road storm drain,
which I thought was kind of odd, because what would be the purpose of that pipe? Like, I've never seen one, because it's sticking straight out of the ground.
Well, kind of spoilers here, but we never really find out what the creature is, so maybe it was just something he was using because, I mean, would you really question just a pipe sticking out of the ground? like
That's
an old
what I'm
rusty
saying. Like,
pipe.
it was old and rusty. Was it there for a purpose originally?
I don't know.
Or does he use it as a slide?
I don't know. It could have been like, I don't know how any of this works, but with the cave down there, maybe they had a reservoir of water or something.
Maybe. So.
Because presumably the church is closed. Because otherwise, I don't think he'd be setting up there.
Oh yeah, I mean all the windows are boarded up and
Yeah.
stuff. So one thing I saw is that Victor Salva, who's the writer and director, he's always said that the Creeper legend is complete fiction. But this scene, where they witness him dumping a body, this calls it a well. So maybe it was an old well. I don't know.
That's basically what I said with the water reservoir.
It was inspired by the case of Dennis DePue in Michigan, who murdered his wife and was witnessed near an old schoolhouse with a bloody sheet. 2 witnesses also recalled him speeding past them in a van and eventually tailing them and riding their bumper for several miles. And there was actually a 1990 episode of Old Unsolved Mysteries about his case.
Huh.
Which we have not watched, but I think it might be kind of cool to watch it.
I will say that, like I said, me and my mom both weren't the biggest fan of this movie. The beginning is so, like, enticing. Like, it draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it catches your attention. And I think the beginning, it's a very, very strong opening for a horror movie.
I kind of feel like the end was pretty strong, too, with the police station. It was just kind of all that fluff in the middle of it. I mean, it was pretty action-y for the ending.
Yeah, but sometimes when it gets action-y like that, it loses me.
So basically, we're following these 2 kids. They leave.
And I'll say this now, their sibling dynamic is very realistic. Yes. They feel like siblings.
And that was one thing I saw earlier, was he didn't want that romantic, like, boyfriend and girlfriend tension. And there was a lot of times I was like, that reminds me of you and your sisters. Like, they banter back and forth and they play this game, and that was something else I wanted to talk about. His license plate is BEATNGU on the Creeper's truck. And they think, Derry thinks it means beating you. I think it means be eating you.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'll be eating you.
Yeah.
Because obviously he eats parts of people.
What's the camper one? It's
Sexy Forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And it's like 2 older people driving it.
So it sounds like they make, like, bets on who can figure out the license plates first.
Yeah, and they're keeping track. Like, it's 3 to 5, and, you know, and they play like, later on they're having, she calls him something, and they're calling names back and forth, and she calls him something, and he calls her a butt something.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, ass and butt are the same, so you lose.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of this fun.
It's sibling banter.
I kind of wondered, they don't ever say it, but I kind of wondered if they're not twins. And the only reason I say that is because they were talking about being at college together, and I know that, like, you don't have to be twins, but they just, they have so much of a dynamic that I kind of wondered if they were meant to be twins.
Yeah, but I'd say that, like, me and my little sister that close, and we're not twins, but we could be in college at the same time.
No, that's true. That's true. But it is really cool. I think that Justin Long does a fantastic job in this movie, and I think the girl does too. She's not my favorite character because I think she gets really crappy with people later on who are trying to help.
So back to what is happening. After they drive by the church, they don't stop or anything. They see this happening. I think they slow down a little bit to see what's going on, and they just leave. Yeah. And they're, like, freaked out. It's not like, a lot of times in horror movies, they see something like that, and they, like, make excuses and stuff. No, immediately they're like, we think those are bodies, and we're going to get out of here.
Right, and their whole plan is to go call 911.
Yeah.
But then he comes after them. I think this is when he hits
this is whenever he hits him, because then they tie the trunk shut.
Did you catch what they tied the trunk shut with?
No.
His pink underwear. They had that whole conversation in the car about how he's taking laundry home for the mom to do because his stuff always ends up pink at school, and he's tying it shut with a pair of his underwear that had been dyed pink.
So anyway,
but one thing that bothered me about this part was,
so anyway, the truck rams them, and the trunk of their car, or the van that the guy's driving, that is the renovated truck, rams them, and they have to tie the trunk shut. Anyway.
And if you watch the car, the damage comes and goes. Like, it'll be there, and then it's not. And then it'll be there, and then it's not. And it drives me nuts. It's not consistent throughout the rest of the movie.
Was this a lower budget movie?
I don't know. So after he rams them, they end up in a field. And Derry convinces Trish that they need to go back.
Because one of those bodies he dumped could still be alive.
Right.
So they go back.
She does not want to go back, though.
But they go back, and he basically, like, has her grab his feet, and he dangles down the pipe to see if he can see anything down there. And then while this is happening, some rats come up the pipe and scare him, and then when they jump out, they scare her, and she drops him. So he falls down inside of, like, this, like, cavern, or this cave area, and does he have a flashlight on him, or does he find one down here?
No, he had one. Remember,
Okay.
he made her go get it out of the car.
I don't remember that, but I must have just not been paying attention.
$10 million was the budget.
So anyway, he's down there, he has the flashlight, and he's looking around, and neither of us notice this until the special features. He brings the flashlight over a table, and carved on the table is this, like, demonic looking thing, and it's actually what we later see the creature looks like in the movie, when he, like, fully takes on his monstrous appearance.
But I don't think they did it very well.
Why not?
Because without watching the special features, I wouldn't... Because I noticed that there was a carving in the table. If we hadn't watched the special features, I would have never caught that that was supposed to be him. Just from the angle of the camera and the way he shines the light on it, I would have never got that it was supposed to be...
I don't know.
Whatever he is. But
anyway, while he's down there, he sees the body on the ground, and then he also sees up above him, like, attached to, like, the ceiling, people strung up. And specifically, he sees a woman whose head was cut off and then stitched back on.
Bless you. Which they'd actually talked about earlier in the car, that they disappeared, like, 23 years before.
So do you get the impression that they know this area, or they just know stories from this area? Because the sister says she always was afraid she was going to die on this highway. Because I kind of took it that they've just driven through this area before.
That's kind of how I took it, but I think it would kind of be like us driving to... If we took the back way to the big town in the next state over, and things that happened there, we'd probably hear the stories, but it wouldn't be...
Well, it's like Hatchet Man Cemetery that's near us.
Yeah, so... So yeah, I don't know. I kind of got the impression they were... But maybe they were out there more than we knew, because they are on their way home from college, so...
But,
And when she talks to her mom, she says they'll be home in a couple hours.
After this, he gets out. Do we ever see how he gets out?
No.
Yeah. So we just cut to the sister in the car, and then the brother slams against the window, and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Please say something." And he doesn't say anything. He just leans against the window.
Right. Which is really kind of a creepy scene.
Yeah, and I thought he was, like, possessed.
But he's just traumatized.
Yeah. So, anyway, they get in the car, they're driving again. He's, like, not really talking. Is this when they get to the cafe?
Yes.
Okay. Their gas is low, right? Is it like a gas station and a cafe?
Yeah.
Okay. So they stop and
But
they're getting gas.
If the gas is low. They stop to call 911 or call the police.
She looks at the gas gauge and it's like on empty, and she says, "We're gonna have to stop soon. We can call when we stop," or something like that. So they stop and they go in the cafe, and they basically walk in the door and just immediately they're like, "We saw people die. We saw dead people," basically.
Yeah, call the police.
Yeah, and the cafe is like packed, and everyone like turns to look at them and everything.
But they're supposedly in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Do they call the police beforehand, or does the phone ring first?
The waitress goes to call the police.
Okay, and then the phone rings.
The payphone rings.
And Derry picks it up, and there's a woman's voice on the other end, and she's like, "Have you seen the cats yet?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then she like describes like his tattoo and the bodies he saw and all that, and she is like, if this song plays, you need to get out of there. And then it's the song Jeepers Creepers.
Which you said Dawson said was from what, like 1931?
1938. It was written for a movie. I don't remember what movie. I don't have it pulled up. But Louis Armstrong did a cover of it in 39, and I think that's I think it was probably popular before that, but that's probably the version that if people know it outside of this movie, they might be familiar with.
Right.
Yes.
So then the cops get there, right?
No. Yes, and they start telling their story, and then as they're telling the story, the waitress isn't that your car out there? And they go out to the car, and someone has opened the back door and gone through all the clothes, and it's spilled on the ground. The dirty laundry of Derry's.
And they said that people in the window had seen whoever was sniffing the dirty laundry.
Yeah, and then knew which direction they walked.
Yeah.
And Derry points out they even know his name now because his name was written on his underwear.
Right.
Which is, do people really do that? I don't think it's even written on there. It's embroidered on there. On the waistband.
Maybe if you're in college and live in a frat house, it's a common thing so that you don't get your underwear mixed up with anybody.
I don't know. That just seems odd to me.
I mean, I've never done it.
The only time I can think of something similar to that is in Back to the Future when they call him Calvin Klein because that's what his underwear says.
Screech talks about it in Save the Bell. I can't remember what the line is, but he talks about his name being in his underwear.
Yeah, but I think that's written in his underwear. In Dog Grumpy Kid, it's written in his underwear by his mom, but it's just, I've never heard someone, I've never seen someone actually have it embroidered on the waistband. It just...
Yeah, that seems like a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, I think a waste of time and a waste of money.
Yeah. So I saw a thing earlier where people are like, well, how does he get gas? And I guess they said he steals it from other people's cars, the creeper.
Why can't he just get gas?
I don't know. That was just something on IMDb I saw. And then the whole time we were watching this movie, I was thinking about that meme where they're laying in bed together and the girl's shows what she's thinking, and she's like, I bet he's thinking about other people, other women, and he's laying there thinking, how did Jeepers Creepers register his car and get personalized license plates?
I wonder if he can appear more human than people think he can.
Yeah. I mean, at first we think he's human.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is, we haven't seen the sequels, so maybe there's more about it in the sequels. But we don't know because we see him have a couple different monstrous forms, kind of. So maybe he has a more human form he can take on. And later in the movie, the psychic lady says he comes out every
23 years. That's how I remember that the people have been missing for 23 years. I think it's 23 years, and then he can eat for. Is it 23 years and he can eat for 23 days?
So I don't know if anything in the later movies contradicts this, but maybe he just looks like a regular person the rest of the year. Especially if he's eating people and taking on their traits. You know what that thing made me think of, though? And I don't know, when did it come out, the book? I'm sure it was before this.
Yeah.
It made me think of that, where, is it 27 years he comes back?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically the rest of the movie is
them running from him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of repetitive after this point, because they get in the car and drive somewhere, the person they're talking to dies. They get in the car, drive somewhere, the person they're talking to dies.
I want to say one thing about that, though. I did see a thing on IMDb earlier where one of the, and I kind of thought this last night too when I was watching it, one of the goofs is that, so when they leave the diner, they're in their car and there's police officers following in a police car. Well, he ends up on the roof of the car and he kills the police officers. And somebody made the comment that the police car stops like somebody slammed on the brakes and there's nobody in the car. But he got out of the driver's seat of the car. Because I was thinking that too when I was watching it. I'm like, he just killed them both. But then he steps out and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I don't really see that as a goof.
Do you think he was doing that to try to lure them back to that car? To get them to stop?
I think so. Because Derry kind of hints that he thinks his sister has a crush on the guy cop.
Yeah. But, because what I was wondering, though, is, because he does that, he attacks the police car, and he could have attacked their car. So I wonder if he's worried about damaged goods. Because we later find out in the movie the psychic says that the creeper takes pieces of people.
Right.
So I imagine he doesn't want them damaged. So maybe that's why he takes out the cops, but it doesn't attack their car.
That was a very uncomfortable scene when he eats the cop's tongue.
Yeah.
Blech. At first I thought he was kissing him, and I'm like, okay, this is disgusting. You're making out with a severed head.
So do you think this is a slasher movie?
I wouldn't classify it as a slasher movie.
I think it's somewhere between a slasher movie and a creature feature.
I think I would lean more toward creature feature, just because.
I think it's both. I think it has elements of both.
Yeah. I would have never called it a slasher, but now that you say that, yes.
I think about the first half is more of a slasher.
Yeah.
It's more slow and methodical, and
yeah.
I think probably up to the cat lady.
Yeah.
I would consider like slasher.
So they end up stopping at this lady's house that has all these cats.
Yeah,
and
which is like
help.
it like proves the psychic knows what she's talking about. That called on the phone earlier.
Right. And one thing I saw was because she has tons of cats.
Yeah.
And the way they got the cats to stay up on her porch was they smeared tuna on the screens, so the cats would stay there and eat the tuna. But I can't remember her name, but I love her. She was in Pippi Longstocking a long time ago.
As the
orphan. I think she worked for the orphanage.
Yeah. So anyway, this scene with him standing in front of the scarecrow, I think is actually like really cool.
Yeah.
Like I think that's a good
scene.
It's like suspenseful and stuff.
Very unique, I think. Mm-hmm. It's not something. I mean, there's a supernatural episode that I go to with the scarecrow, but that was the actual scarecrow.
Yeah. Well, there's also Harold from Scary Stories.
Yeah. What Dawson's referring to is they go to this lady's house and she looks out and sees her scarecrow.
It's the cat lady. It's the same lady.
Yeah, but Creeper is standing in front of it. She goes, "That's not my scarecrow."
And pulls out a shotgun.
Yeah.
But anyway, that lady ends up dying. So they get in the car again, right? And they're driving.
This is when they hit him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So they drive. The sister's driving. She drives towards him once. He jumps over the car, and then she drives towards him again and runs him over. And I think it's funny because Zombieland didn't even come out until what, 2009?
Something like that.
And so I just think it's funny that she like double taps him.
Yeah.
Because she runs him over once and then backs over him and then drives over him again and just like does it a lot because she's like, he's not coming after us.
And she finally stops when Derry tells her to.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing that drove me nuts in this entire, like from the get-go, is those kids don't know how to drive a stick shift vehicle. Drove me nuts. I know there were times she was upset, and there's times where you can hear the car shifting, and when he's driving, you can hear the car shifting, but he's got his right hand on the steering wheel. You shift with your right hand.
Yeah.
Like, it just, the way they drove that car drove me insane.
So anyway, they run him over a bunch of times, and this is where we'll talk about the CGI in this movie. I know it was 2001, but the CGI in this movie is not good. It does not look good. I think a major issue at this scene, because what happens is the wings are CGI. He has wings. So when they're running him over, one of his wings pops out and we see it for the first time. I think the lighting is off. I don't think that they took into account the shadows and stuff on the wing, and so it sticks out so much from like the night, like the darkness.
Right. And we talked about, me and you talked about later on when he's flying, like it it looks so fake. And I know it was 24 years ago, but it just looks so fake. It's horrible CGI. But I did think it was cool. So they run him over, but then later on when he's coming after them, like his leg where they ran him over, he can't walk on it. Like his leg is gone. And I don't know if we really touched on this, but he eats parts of people to replace parts of himself. And the psychic tells them he's eaten so many hearts that there's really no way to stop him. Like, his heart is so strong, there's no way to beat him, really.
So, anyway, yada yada yada, they end up at a police station. And this is when we actually meet the psychic in person. And she is played by, do you know her name?
Patricia Belcher.
Who was the neighbor in Good Luck Charlie.
Yes. And you said something else she was in. She was in an episode of something you were just talking about.
She was in How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother.
She was also a big character on Bones, which I've never seen.
I haven't seen that one either.
But anyway, I really like her. She's a good actress. But I did point out to my mom, there's a trope in horror movies, and I don't know if it extends to other media, but I know for a fact it's a big thing in horror movies, and it's in a lot of Stephen King books. And, you know, the movie adaptations too. But it's the idea of the like, mystical black. Like,
right.
An African American person who is a psychic or knows about the creature or whatever.
Right. And her thing is dreams. She says
Yes.
she dreams these things.
Yeah.
But she knows their names. But this part drove me crazy because she comes to the police station to help them and to try to help them figure things out. And Trish is so darn mean to this lady. She's screaming at her. She's telling Derry not to talk to her. And I'm like, she's the only person who has any clue what's going on. The only person who's trying to help you guys. And you are being a total witch.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, people act weird under pressure and don't act rational under pressure. They just ran over this mysterious creature, and then this lady comes and tells you she was having visions. And the police are telling you, oh, we're going to keep you in a safe room and we're going to keep you safe.
Yes, but
And
they ran over a creature that then all of a sudden has this big wing coming out, and she's not believing this lady knows what's going on.
I know, but it's even, like, the cop tells them, like, what was I going to say? Oh, the cop tells them that, like, don't listen to her, basically, and, like, tries to prevent them from talking to her. And the other thing, too, is, yes, we see that wing from the creature, but how does she know that was real? Like, maybe she's just having a really hard time wrapping her mind around the fact that the supernatural exists.
I guess, but she just was not nice to that lady who was trying to help her. Trying to help them. And, so this part was kind of sad, because Derry's asking her, like, you know, because she says she sees...
One of them gets trapped.
The song playing and one of them trapped and screaming.
And we probably should have mentioned this earlier. Whenever the cop car crashed, whenever the creeper killed the two cops, the song was playing on the radio.
Yeah.
In the siblings' car.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it was... There's something at the cat lady's house, too. Is it playing in the background, or... I don't know.
Do the cats start meowing?
I don't know.
Like, to the tune of it or something?
I don't know, but I feel like there was something there. But
anyway,
anyway,
and I mean, the creeper whistles it, too, after he kills the police and is walking.
Yeah. And so... and he doesn't use a weapon. Like, it's just his hands. I don't think we ever see...
Yeah, he has, like, an axe. It's what he decapitates the cop with.
Oh, I must have missed that. So anyway, we're at the police station, which this is another thing that bothered me. There's a lot with this movie that bugs me. There's a lot of continuity issues.
Continuity.
Yeah, so, so they're supposed to be in the middle of nowhere. Like, they talk about it all the time. There's no houses around. There's nobody around except for the cat lady. And then they go to this police station and there's like 7 or 8 prisoners and 20, 30, 40 cops.
I wonder if they drove somewhere bigger, though, because the cat lady specifically says that they drove into the next county. Remember? Because they say we need to call the whatever police, and she's like, their jurisdiction is over there, you're in blah 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 now.
Yeah, but still, if it's the middle of nowhere, because they talk about, like, they're hundreds of miles away from home and there's not really anything in between there, so that kind of bugged me. But so the policemen hear some commotion back where the cells are, or no, the electricity goes out, so they go to check on everybody, and they get to one of the last cells, and there's 2 guys kind of huddled up together, and it pans over, and the creature is full-on creature now. He doesn't look human at all.
His clothes are on a pile on the floor.
And he's eating the prisoner.
Yeah.
And one thing I saw about this was he eats his arm, part of his hand. I think it's his hand. And he had a tattoo, and so later on when we see the creature again, he's got that guy's partial tattoo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, and that makes me still wonder about if he looks human in the meantime.
Yeah.
When he's not feeding.
So he looks I don't even really. I mean, they in the special features they called him a gargoyle. They called him a demon.
Yeah. Well, in the special features, they said they didn't want him to just be like classified, so they said that he had wings like a vampire. So they're kind of like bat-like wings, and they once you see his skin, it looks like a gargoyle. But then also there's tufts of fur to prevent it from just seeming like a gargoyle.
But then they made it bumpy like reptile skin.
Yeah. And he's got like many wings on his face that open up later, like almost like Demogorgon, but it's just, or even remind me like the Predator mandibles.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, he pretty much kills most of the people in the police station.
Yeah.
And then he takes Derry.
He doesn't kill the psychic lady.
Right.
What was her name? Was it Jezebel or something like that? Giselle, that's what it was. He doesn't kill her because she specifically said earlier when she was having visions, she sees one of the siblings get taken, but she doesn't know what happens to her.
Right.
But he leaves her alone.
Yeah. And he has this way of smelling people.
Yeah.
That it's just really creepy.
And she says that he can smell you and figure out what he needs from you, and he only goes after certain people that he wants stuff from.
Right. Right. And so he Trish is begging him not to take Derry. She's like, take me. This is another reason I wonder if maybe they were twins, because she's like, we're the exact same.
Yeah.
You know, take me, don't take him.
And there's like a SWAT team in here pointing guns at the creature.
Yeah. But he takes Derry and flies out the window.
And this is where the bad CGI comes in.
Yeah.
We see him flying with the moon above him, and it's like it's too stiff. Like the wings and stuff move, but the rest of the body, it's like it has no weight to it.
Well, I told Dawson it reminded me of the monkeys flying in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Like just that stiff, like not I don't know.
It's like if someone was on like a zip line, like a straight zip line, and then just had wings flapping behind them.
Yeah. And so she runs outside, is screaming Derry's name, wants him to bring him back. Oh, we skipped this part, which is kind of important. So the cops had sent other cops out to the church, and the church was burning.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get close enough to even see if there were bodies down there.
Yeah.
And so then we're at like an old warehouse, and we hear Jeepers Creepers playing, and we hear somebody screaming, and
which is exactly what the psychic said earlier.
Right.
That it'd be playing on a phonograph, which is what it's playing on.
Right. And it would be a like a solitary, like he'd be in a room, like a dark room.
Yeah.
And
she did not want to say which sibling it was.
Right. Right.
And then the sister the whole time keeps asking her, she's like, after he gets taken, she's like, do your visions always come true? Do your visions always come true? Are they ever wrong? And the psychic lady is just like, just ignore me, I'm a crazy old lady.
Yeah. She's like, ask anybody in town, they all think I'm crazy. But the movie ends with Derry. To me, it looks like he's just been skinned. I know his eyes are gone, but it looks like it's just kind of his front skin hanging there.
I didn't see that.
But
there's just like holes all the way through his head, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess that's why I thought maybe it was just his.
And you might be right. I didn't look that closely.
But yeah, so Derry dies, and I did not like that.
And we see his eye open behind his like holes where his eyes were in his body, because the creeper ate his eyes and now has his eyes.
Right. So,
you know what that ending scene, that area reminded me of?
What?
I don't know exactly which episode of Supernatural, but it reminds me of one of the episodes of Supernatural. I think it's the one where there's the they think it's a dragon at first because it's taking virgins, but then it turns out that the people they're taking are actually like born again virgins, but they're like trapped. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that episode.
Okay.
It must be a later one for me not to remember it.
It might be, I don't know. But Dean finds out that the one girl that's in the group used to be a porn star. Okay.
I don't remember it. So we talked about that. So after the credits roll,
And it might not even be that episode. I just think it is. Anyway.
after the credits roll, we see the creeper's jeep still driving, or
Truck,
truck
van.
still driving down the back roads, like he's still searching for
Yeah.
victims.
And there's 3 sequels to this, so there's 4 movies total, and we haven't seen any of the others.
And so I also saw that at the very last scene we were talking about, where Derry is dead, that is Justin Long, who played Derry, in the makeup of the creeper, not the guy who played the creeper, because they wanted Justin's eye to be the
I
one
figured
coming
it
through
was.
there. And then the original truck, this is my last little tidbit I've got. The original truck from the film is owned by a private collector in Maryland. He keeps it as a relic, and he also provided it for Jeepers Creepers 3, which wasn't until 2017, and this one was 2001. So,
And the newest one was the 4th one, which came out in 2022.
But he also rents it for events and conventions. Oh, and the Creeper did originally have a line of dialogue, and they cut it completely out.
I like when horror has rules. So I like the rule that if you hear the music, you know the creeper's near you. But I wish they would have done more with that, because it's supposed to be like an early warning system, but they never really do anything with it. They just hear the music and it's like, oh crap, he's here.
Yeah, and I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, and I really hate that, because like I said before, people love this movie, and I was talking to the guy I work with today about it, and he said, "Oh, I just love that one. That's such a good one," and I just don't see it.
Well, okay, like I said, I like when like the creature has rules. I think one of the reasons that we may not have liked this as much, and I don't know if you agree on that, but like if you're doing vampires or werewolves, those have some established rules. Even if you change them in the movie, they usually address that.
Yeah.
But it's like vampires, you can attack with silver or garlic or like a stake to the heart, stuff like that. And because this is a new creature that we have no frame of reference for, the only things we learn in the movie is he comes out every 23 years, and when the music plays, he's near. Like, we never learn a weakness or anything like that.
And see, I thought they were going to play up on that line of her saying that about his heart. Like, oh, if we go for his heart, then we can kill him.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And I didn't like our final girl. I did not like... the actress did a fantastic job as that character. But I just did not like her.
I think, like what you said earlier, where part of it feels like filler, I feel like the movie felt short, even though it was, like an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Because there's so much filler. It doesn't feel like anything happened.
Right.
And because it's so repetitive.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had better established rules for the creature and had more going on, it would have been better.
Right. And we never know, and I know, like, the documentary part we watched, they didn't really want you to, but we don't know what he is. We don't know...
Yeah, and that's what I mean is, they invented this new creature and made up some rules for it, but with my horror, I either want there to be, like, this thing is, like, cosmic horror, it's beyond our comprehension, it's way out of our league, there's nothing we can do to stop it. Like, spoiler alert for Cabin in the Woods, like how at the end of Cabin in the Woods the big hand comes out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that I find really cool. There's there's no way to, I mean, they have rituals and stuff to take care of that, but once that's done, there's like no way to take those out, presumably. I like stuff like that, or I like stuff like vampires where there's established rules that we know going into the movie on how to fight back.
Right.
And even if those vary, they're usually still talked about in the movie. Like, it's explained what works and what doesn't. Like, even in Hotel Transylvania, which isn't about fighting monsters, it's about monsters in themselves, Drac at one point talks about how he's not really, like, garlic doesn't, like, straight up kill him, but he's kind of allergic to it, to where it makes his throat swell up. Stuff like that.
Right.
In this movie, there's no stopping the creature, and I don't feel like the creature has enough of a personality that you're just rooting for him to kill the people, because we're so attached to the siblings that we want them to win.
Right. And why make him look human anyway? I mean, he's this creature. And my other thing about this is, I meant to talk about this earlier, but And I cannot remember if it's he comes back every 20. I think it may be he comes back every 20 years for 23 days. Whatever it is.
It's
However,
23. I think it's 23 years for 23 days.
okay, whatever it is. So you're telling me that for however long, every 23rd year, he's killing people all along this road, and the cops have no idea because the cops act like they don't believe.
Yeah.
Believe. I keep wanting to call him Justin. Derry. And then when Derry tells him he saw the people that died 20 years ago, they're like, well, they've been missing for 20 years. You couldn't have seen them. They would have been skeletons. He's telling you he found their bodies. And like you said, the cavern is completely covered in all of these dead people. But nobody's connecting that it all has to do with this area and that there's something really bad going on in this area.
Well, okay. What I was saying earlier about the thing is, I think the horror of the unexplained is some of the best horror you can have, where you just don't explain. And honestly, I like the psychic in this movie, but if you cut her out and there's just this creature coming after them that, like, at first they think is a person and that's slowly revealed as a creature, they never learn that, like, that song, like, maybe the song starts playing and, like, maybe it was playing when he fell down the tube,
right.
like the pipe,
right.
And then he hears that song playing in the car and he's like, I have a bad feeling, and then the police die and everything, and we never have the psychic, and it just...
Or even as us, like, the viewers, we catch on to that song is playing when something... Kind of like The Dead Don't Die. Like, that song's always in the movie.
I feel like it's okay to just explain some stuff sometimes, but I feel like this movie explained just enough that you feel like they should have explained more.
Right.
Like, we never really find out what this creature is, where it came from, or anything like that. Which, like I said, the horror of the unknown is great, and that's why a lot of people like Jaws, is because they show the shark less, and that builds suspense and it makes the horror more. But at a certain point, if you're going to explain stuff, you need to explain stuff.
Right.
And I don't, like, you don't necessarily need to explain everything. I just feel like we need just a little bit more for the creeper.
Or a little bit less.
Yeah, either way.
Right, like, and, you know, you touched on the psychic. I like her. I like her character. I think she's a fantastic actress. But I feel like that's something that's completely overdone. And I understand she had a dream that she was dreaming about Derry at the end. But how did she know she was at they were at the diner, when they were at the diner, to call that phone?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she knew Trisha's name. Well, if Trish wasn't in her vision because she saw Derry, like, how did... And I understand psychics... She didn't call herself a psychic, but it just, to me, she knew too much for it to have just been like, oh, I saw your death in a dream. You know? Like, there was so... And I agree with you. Like, we either needed more, or we needed to not have her character.
Yeah. And I always kind of feel like a psychic in a movie can be taken out for the most part.
Yeah.
If it's just like a side character that's a psychic that just tells them a few cryptic clues, sometimes I feel like that's unnecessary and people can figure stuff out on their own. And, okay, someone was talking about this the other day. It might have been a Creepcast episode that I was watching, where, actually, it definitely was. You don't need to explain everything. Your audience is smarter than you think they are. And I feel like sometimes people include side characters and stuff like that to explain things that don't need explained.
Yeah. Like, I think it could have, them talking about the people that disappeared 23 years before, we're smart enough to figure out that, oh my gosh, it's happening every 23 years.
Okay, even if you wanted to have the scene where the phone rings in the diner and they answer it and there's a cryptid message on the other side, what if it was just the song playing? What if it was just that Jeepers Creepers song playing?
Right.
And then, because the sister isn't actively on the phone, he's the one that answers the phone, then later when they're in the car and he starts freaking out because that song's playing, it would still make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like the psychic character wasn't really necessary.
Now, I do have to say, I get what you're saying, but Missouri Brown in Supernatural as a psychic is one of my favorite characters because she is hilarious.
I'm not saying always.
No, I know, but you remember her, like, just like Dean's talking about putting his feet on the table, and...
I think a lot of times in, like, Stephen King's work, per se, because he's, like, a known guy that does this a lot, just having that side character that's just there to drop a few clues, and it's just like, there's a psychic here for there to be a psychic here. Like, don't get me wrong, I like some of Stephen King's stuff, but spoilers for Mr. Mercedes. He always brings magic into it. Like at the end of Mr. Mercedes, when the guy's in the hospital, he he starts becoming like psychic and he can like read people's mind. I hate that. Just leave it as a true crime, like a quote unquote true crime story, and leave it there. I don't think it needs all the extra magic stuff.
I've thought that about a couple of his books where at the end it ends up being aliens, and I'm like,
Yeah. Well, you know,
frickin' aliens.
people
I knew
say,
I was gonna get that on our podcast. Frickin' aliens.
people talk about how Stephen King sucks at endings, and I'm not gonna spoil the book or the movie, but look at The Long Walk we just went and saw in theaters. The movie ending is so much more impactful and emotional than the book ending, and I'm not gonna say anything more than that.
I don't have an opinion because I haven't finished the story.
Yeah.
Which because my copy's so old, I didn't want to carry it with me. But, yeah, I did. And then I felt
that was kind of a tangent, but
right. And okay. And so one thing we didn't mention was the crows throughout the movie. They could have done like there's crows at the church. There's crows pretty much anywhere he shows up. There's crows. And I think they could have done so much for
well, especially with him, the scarecrow, like him standing in front of the scarecrow. If we had found out he had some kind of connection to the crows, that would have been
cool. And like at the end of it, she sees a crow fly by when she's looking up at the sky. So I thought, oh my gosh, she's gonna follow the crow and figure out where they're at. And they didn't do anything with that. And I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities in this movie.
I think that's part of the reason that this movie felt so anticlimactic at the end. Because Derry's death does not feel earned.
No.
Like, I'm fine with movies. I've watched movies where everyone dies at the end, and I'm perfectly happy with that ending.
Right.
I just don't feel like this movie earned that ending.
It was very...
Not that everyone died, but that Derry specifically died.
It was very abrupt, too. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like,
because
I wanted to see her try to rescue him.
Yeah, you say it was very abrupt. The end scene he takes, I paused it there because I had to do something. I think I probably just had to get up and go to the bathroom. I paused it there and I realized there was like 10 minutes left of the movie or something. And I was like, how are they going to wrap this up in 10 minutes? And they don't really. Like, there's no satisfying ending where everything's, and not that you always need everything to be like tied up with a bow. You can leave loose ends, but it was too abrupt. There wasn't enough time afterwards. It reminds me of a lot of older movies. When the story is done, the movie's over.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the story's told, the movie's over. There's no resolution. It's just like, as soon as the movie climaxes, it's over. Wasn't Homicidal like that?
Yeah. So I was actually just looking at Jeepers Creepers 2 to see if maybe Sis came back around, but it doesn't look like she's in the second one. So I thought maybe we'd get some more closure there, but...
See, and from my impression with the special features we watched, they did not necessarily go into this movie in mind of doing like a TV, not a TV series, a movie series, like having multiple movies.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have plans like, oh, this year we're going to release this one, next year we're going to release this one, the year after that we're going to release this one. Maybe we could have got a more satisfying story with this ending, even though it is so abrupt. But wasn't it a while between the first and the second?
I think it was 2003 for the second,
So that's not bad. But then the next one was, what, 2017 you said?
Yeah.
And then the next one was 2022.
Yeah. So it just was not, it was not my favorite.
I think the most memorable thing...
Trish comes back in the third one.
Okay.
But that's, what, 2016 years later?
Yeah. I think the most memorable thing about the movie is the design of the creature itself. Because it is a really cool, interesting design. And like you said, you had a hard time describing it. But I told you this, but you haven't seen these movies. It reminds me of the Jinn from Wishmaster. Like, in the face, specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it was a cool concept. It was a neat idea.
The other thing it kind of reminds me of? The vampire lords from Skyrim.
Yeah. I just thought of the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
With the...
Yeah. It kind of reminds me more Predator than Demogorgon. Because it's not the full face.
Yeah.
It's, is it the creature from the Black Lagoon that has the gills?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like that, too, with the way it looks.
I mean, they did a good job. It just, like, for 25 years ago, they did a good job with the makeup and the costumes and all of that. It felt like there could have been and should have been so much more.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people online spout this as like an underrated classic, and I don't think it deserves that title.
I don't either. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. We've talked about this before. Like, I love slashers.
Yeah.
They're some of my favorites. But
I think, okay, one more thing that I think, sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but one more thing I think about this movie, the thing where I said it's like somewhere between a slasher and a creature feature, I think it should have picked one lane and stayed in it.
Yeah.
I think it tries to delve too much in both. Anyway.
Right, and it's kind of, and that's pretty much what I was gonna say. But like the earlier scenes, it's kind of like Michael Myers, where it doesn't matter where you go or what you do, he's gonna catch you. And then all of a sudden, we're a gargoyle vampire demon thing that flies, and to me that's not continued. That's not. I don't know. It just wasn't a good flow for me from one to the other. Like, if you're going to do a slasher, do a slasher. If it's going to be a creature, make it... And like I said earlier, why did he look human if he was a creature the whole time?
Yeah.
Because it's not like he was in hiding if he's only coming out every 23 years.
But, I agree with what you're saying to an extent, because I think it would have been flying to go from a slasher to a creature feature if it had been more gradual.
Yeah. I have another question, too, though, and we didn't mention this, but... When they're at the diner and they go out because the
creature was smelling their clothes.
Yes. Derry says, what about fingerprints? And they say that it's dead skin that's been dead for a really long time.
He takes the parts of the people he eats.
I know, but he's not like falling apart throughout the movie. You know what I mean?
But he's also actively eating people throughout the movie.
Well, that's true.
And he's got all the people suspended up in that cave.
Maybe that's why he replaced his hand with that one guy's hand. Okay, that makes sense.
But that was something they could have leaned more into, is him, like, pieces of him wearing out. Like, I feel like they could have leaned more into that.
I thought that too, because, like, the girl that they talk about who died the last time he was around, she lost her head, but what good did that do? Because she has her eyes. I think we even see her, I think her mouth is open a little bit and we see her tongue, so, and she's not cut anywhere else, so what did he take from her neck?
Maybe he needed to get inside for, like, organs or something.
We didn't talk about the one guy that is still alive in the cave when he first goes down there, and this guy's like dying and he's cut.
Disemboweled.
Yeah. And I think that's really what freaked Derry out.
Yeah. I do think the whole thing with it turns out Derry's just, like, traumatized. I like that. I like that it wasn't, like, possession or something.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like, and you mentioned this too, I don't like that we don't know how he got out.
Yeah.
And we were watching it last night, and my husband said, there's a lot of rope down there. He could make a rope and just throw it back up the pipe because of all the rope, which he could have, and had her pull him up, but that's just how Aaron thinks about stuff like that. But he's like, all that rope there.
I wonder if there's an entrance. I mean, obviously there's got to be another entrance, I don't imagine that the creeper just slides down that and then flies back up and to get out. I wonder if there's a way through the church or something.
I know, but see, we don't know that. And
I know.
Can rats climb walls?
They're good at climbing. They can't climb like a vertical wall, but I think there was enough stuff sticking out from the wall that they could.
Okay. Because I'm like, how did they... Because he threw a body down there, so obviously he would have knocked everything out, but then they come after Derry.
Or maybe there's a crack. It's a pretty rusty pipe. Maybe there's a hole in the pipe somewhere.
And I hated that he was mad at his sister for letting him go.
Yeah, but... I think that was more of his knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, but he was the one kicking his feet like an idiot.
Well, there was rats running at him.
Well, I understand that, but it wasn't her fault.
I know, but as soon as she could have tried to pull him back up, and he, like, cut his hand, so I would probably be a little mad too.
Which is something in the special features. He's actually sitting there with like a real bandage on his hand. So I'm curious to know if he actually hurt himself in filming the movie and they added it in, or if maybe he did it at home and they, made it part of the movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, it had so much potential and it just fell short.
I don't see why people support it so much.
I don't either.
I mean, every movie deserves support, but you know what I mean.
I have to say, one thing that they talked about in the special features we watched that I hadn't really thought about but makes a lot of sense is the car and the truck van are characters in this movie.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. Like his truck is creepy. Like it looks scary. And then their car is pale blue and just pretty, and so that was kind of, half of the movie is their vehicles being the characters.
And they even when they're talking about the creeper, they talk about how he basically has three forms. The one where he's wearing clothes and looks human, the like full creature, and then his van.
Right.
Like they consider like his van is like one of the phases of the creature.
And when he drives past them when they're in the car, she tries to look in the window and you can't see anything. So I think it has some good points, like good parts of the movie. I think they fell short and could have done a lot more with it. We don't usually rate our movies, but I would give this one like a so-so rating. Like, if it sounds like your thing, go give it a try. If not, you could skip it. It's not one we're going to sit here and say everybody needs to watch.
Yeah.
So, let us know in the comments what you think about Jeepers Creepers. Next week, we will start our October month.
Yes, and we're going to do anthologies.
So we are doing
Sam's 10th anniversary Trick or Treat graphic novel.
Trick or Treat the movie.
Yes. But next week, the first week, we are doing Tales of Halloween.
Which is another anthology.
Yes.
And I don't think we've quite picked our fourth one yet.
No, so let us know in the comments if you have any suggestions.
Yep, so Halloween is my favorite time of year, so I'm really excited for the next month, but let us know what you think of Jeepers Creepers. If you know of any anthology movies we should do, let us know, and we will see you next time.